Hey, my name is Austin Glanzer, and if you're at this video, you're probably interested in wholesaling houses and what all it entails. So this video is going to talk about the 10 steps to wholesaling houses. Now, I don't want to say that wholesaling houses is necessarily easy, because it is easy, but it takes work. It is simpler than many other strategies, though, to get started. So even if you have less than $1,000 in your bank account right now, you can wholesale houses. Actually, you could even do it if you have less than $100. You could get started in wholesaling houses. So I want to just go through these 10 steps. I've been wholesaling houses now for about a year and have my own rental properties and have flipped a couple houses as well. And I've really enjoyed real estate, and I thought it'd be great just for beginners to watch a video, have 10 steps to wholesale houses, and so let's just jump right into it. The first step to wholesaling houses is to have protection. What do I mean by have protection? I mean, you should start a business. You should have an LLC or a partnership with somebody that will protect you from getting sued. So let's say something goes wrong in the wholesale deal. I don't know, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Let's say a pipe bursts in the middle of it and someone sues you, okay, over some dispute. Well, if you have an LLC, that means that they can't sue you personally, but they can sue the business. So that protects you. If someone sues the business, they can only come after the assets that are in that business, not what's in your personal bank account. So you want to set up an LLC. You can do that very easily online. A great place to start is LegalZoom. Now, there are ways you can maybe do it a little bit cheaper than LegalZoom, but they're very simple for somebody who doesn't know how to set up an LLC or you're completely new to it. Their forms are easy to fill out. So I would set up an LLC. The second step to wholesaling houses is to know your area well. What do I mean by that? I mean, know which pockets of your neighborhood are selling for which prices. So you could see a house that is exactly the same in the neighborhood, 3 miles north, 3 miles south. One could be 150,000, one could be 120,000. Well, why is there that difference? So that's what you're going to want to know. You're going to want to actually drive around your area, walk the neighborhood. Do you feel safe walking by these houses? Do you feel safe driving by these houses? What is the area like at night? You know, all of these things. You're going to want to actually go onto Zillow, see what houses have sold for, or Realtor.com. Any simple platform, Trulia, they will show you how much houses are selling for, and then you can actually go and look at that house and do some research. I actually bought a rental property, and my wife and I, we walked the area. We actually got out of our car, we parked it, we walked the area, and we felt safe walking through, so we knew that it was a better investment than another place where we didn't feel safe. So that's going to be really important. Know your area. The third step to wholesaling houses is finding off-market properties, right? So you can go on Zillow and you can see a house that is listed way below market value. But the issue with that is a lot of other people are looking at that same house. There's a lot of competition, which could drive the price up on that house. So what you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to start doing some marketing to find off-market properties. So I have 5 different things that you could do to start finding off-market properties. So once you know your area well, you have an LLC, you can start doing your marketing to find these. So the first one is build a website. Now, I personally have built multiple websites that generate leads online of motivated sellers. There's a lot of places you can go. My website is glanzair.com. I build those websites for people, so you can check out glanzair.com. Or Carrot is a great website. They have a great system to build a simple website that you can start generating motivated seller leads. You could also build these on Weebly or Squarespace. Those are very simple. You've probably heard of those. You could build them on that as well. The next thing, like I said, is driving around the area to know the area, but also drive around the area and find if there's a property that looks a little run down. If the house is run down, that could mean that the person who owns it is in a situation. It might not be their house and they could be living somewhere else and they're letting it just kind of sit vacant, which I just did a deal not too long ago where that was the case. It was just sitting vacant for 3 years. I couldn't believe the person left that house. It was a decent house too, just completely vacant. So drive around, notice the houses that look like they're run down, and actually go up to the house, knock on the door, and see what's the situation. And tell them you're an investor in the area and you're interested in buying the house and restoring it, and see what people say. The next one is leave marketing material. So another really simple thing you could do is drive the area, walk around the area, see houses that are run down, write the address down, and then actually physically handwrite a letter to these people. If you write a letter that says, hey, I'm a local investor, I noticed your house looked a little run down, I would love to restore your house, I'm interested and I could buy in cash, you could actually write a letter and see what the people write you back. And it is statistically proven, if you have a handwritten letter, that people are more likely to write you back. So I would physically handwrite letters to the properties that you think you would be most interested in. The next one is bandit signs. You could order bandit signs and put them all over your neighborhood on corners that just have a Google Voice number. So you could sign up for a Google Voice number for free, put that on your phone, and then people will call the Google Voice number, and that way your personal cell phone number isn't all over the neighborhood, because a lot of people call them and say, why'd you put that sign up? But completely fine to put them up in areas, and you can start generating leads by putting up bandit signs that say, I can buy your house cash with your phone number on it, the Google Voice number. The last one is to go through county records. So you're going to want to find your county website, and it's really easy to find. Just Google your county name, and it has a .gov in the URL. And they have the delinquent tax records, which I posted another video about, which is on my YouTube channel, about how to find these properties. But you go through the delinquent tax records and you can see who's behind on taxes. And then you can physically write them a letter, get their address, or try to find their phone number in Yellow Pages and give them a phone call and tell them you can help them get out of their current situation and buy their house, so that way they don't have to pay their taxes. You can take over that they owe, buy the house and restore it or wholesale it. So those are my strategies to finding off-market properties. The fourth one, we want to talk to the leads, right? So once you get these leads, I just had how to find these off-market properties, how to contact them. You want to talk to that person once you've actually been in contact. So what do you want to say to these people? Well, the most important question that I've found that you want to ask people is, why are you selling the house? Once you ask that, you will get a lot of information from them about why they're selling their house. So, and this could be all over the place. Somebody I've worked with, the house was vacant. Another person that I'm doing a wholesale deal with right now, their parents passed away. They were a little bit older and they didn't know what to do with the house. So I worked with them on the property, and I knew how to help them. And the most important thing with wholesaling isn't making money. Now, that's the end goal. It is to ultimately help people get out of their current situation and truly help them. So you want to give them a fair offer, talk to them about the things that are most bothering them at the current moment. So that's what I do. I find out why they're selling their house, and then I work around those issues that they have and solve them for them. It's really just a people business. This is totally a people business. Build relationships with them. So as you're contacting them, once you know why they're selling, you want to focus on building a friendship with them, because then someone might actually come back to you later. So a deal that I did, a lady, we were very nice to her. We worked it out. She actually sent us another lead of one of her friends that needed to sell her house because we were so kind to her. So it's not just about money, it's about becoming friends with the people, building relationships, and problem solving. So once you actually get on the phone, problem solve for them. The next one is run your numbers, right? So how do you run your numbers to know you have a good deal? The first thing is you want to run your comps, okay? What do I mean by comps? You want to look at what other houses have sold for in that area. So like, you know your area, you have different pockets of neighborhoods in your town. You're going to want to pull up houses with the same comps, that meaning same number of bedrooms, same number of square foot, roughly, same bathrooms. And then you're going to look at houses that have sold in that same neighborhood, and then you can get a rough idea. So typically what I do is I'll find 3 houses that sold that were similar to the one I'm wholesaling, and then I average the price that they sold for, and then I know how much I can sell the house for top dollar. And then what I do is I take that number, and then I can figure out what I could sell to an investor later on. And that way I have a margin built in for myself. And I did post another video about this as well, on how to calculate your ARV on the property to figure out how much you can wholesale your house for. The sixth thing you're going to want to do is actually meet at the house. So you've talked to the person, you've built a relationship with them over the phone, and maybe you've actually been to the house, but you're going to want to actually go into the house and do a formal walkthrough of the property. So what do you want to do when you look at the property? Well, you want to look at the main things that an investor is going to look at that are going to cost them money. So the first thing I do is I make sure the foundation and the roof are fine. And if those are fine or they're not fine, I calculate that. So I take in how much the roof is going to cost roughly, and those are normally the big hitters, foundation and roof. And then I walk in and I look at the windows, the floor, the kitchen, and the bathrooms. And then after that, I look at the mechanicals. Now, what do I mean by the mechanicals? I'm talking about the hot water heater and the furnace. You're gonna wanna look at those things. How new are they? How old are they? And if that's gonna have to be replaced as well. Along the lines with that, it would also include the refrigerator, the stove, those type of things, because those are kind of set prices that investors or flippers are gonna have to pay for to flip the house. And that can help you calculate how much the rehab is going to be on the property. So then whenever you have that number, you can then send it to an investor and you know how much the property is going to cost for rehab and how much you can then sell the property for a profit to that investor. So you're doing all of the math for the investor. As a good wholesaler, you always want to do everything you can for other people. You want to put the person who's selling the house in a great situation for their life. You want to solve their problems. And for the investor, you want to do all of the math for them as best you can so it's incredibly easy for them to buy the house. That's what a good wholesaler does. They make the life of the investor and the seller easy. That's what I personally do, and you want to do a great, easy packet for the investor to know how much the rehab will be, what are the things he needs to fix, and that's how you work and build relationships with investors as well. The seventh thing you're going to want to do is sign a purchase sale agreement with this seller. Now, what do I mean by a purchase sale agreement? This is the contract that the seller is going to sign between you for the set price that you decide. So let's say you're going to buy the house for $75,000. You are going to sign a contract saying you are going to give the seller $75,000 when the house sells. Now, the most important thing in this assignable contract is that it says this contract is assignable to another person. Now, this is whenever you're going to take this contract and you're going to sell this contract to an investor for more money. Let's say it's a $75,000, like I said. You're going to take this contract, you're going to sign $75,000, and then you're going to go to an investor and say, hey, I have an assignable contract I'm going to sell to you for a marked up price. So that could be $85,000, and you're selling this contract for $10,000 to the investor. That way you have your spread, and the $85,000 that's going to go from the investor, $75,000 of it goes to the seller. So they get their share of the money, the investor buys the house as a good deal, and you get $10,000. So you're going to want to physically take a contract, have the seller sign that contract between you for an agreed upon price. That's what we do with our business, and then you sell that contract. The next thing that I found that is very helpful, if you have a good deal and you've built up relationships with investors, you are going to want to collect offers. So what I do is I create a MailChimp email with the photos of the house that I took with the mechanicals, the roof, the foundation, the windows, the kitchens, the bathrooms. I put all of that together and I send a MailChimp email out to all of my investors. And then I say, this house, there is a showing time. I have a time that I've worked out with the person that I'm selling the house for, a time that investors can come and look at the house. That way I have a group of people all coming together to build up some competition to collect offers. Let's say I have an open house at 3 p.m. on Thursday. I send out an email with all of the numbers, how much the rehab will be, what the ARV is, what their potential profit is, and I say you can come look at the house Thursday at 3 p.m. Then multiple people come at 3 p.m. to look at the house, and I'm building up some competition to collect offers from the investors. And that way I know I have multiple people interested in this house. I'm going to have a bidding war on the house, especially if it's a good one. This has happened to me. I had a bidding war between people, and I ended up making $10,000 more than I thought I was going to make because I didn't even realize how good of a deal I had until investors got there to look at the house. So collect offers by having a set time people can come and look at the house. Once you collect your offers from somebody and accept one, you're going to have an assigner contract. You're going to sign a contract for the higher price with the person you're going to sell the house to. You have two contracts, and let's use $75,000 for example. Now, if I have a contract that says I'm going to buy this house from the seller for $75,000, then I have a contract with the investor that I'm going to sell the house for $85,000 to the investor. You're then going to take these two contracts and bring them to an escrow company. This company is going to do the title and closing. So you're going to set a date that the house is going to be bought. The investor is going to take the money and give it to the escrow company, where the escrow company is going to then give the $75,000 to the seller, and they will also cut you, your LLC, your business, a check for $10,000. So the escrow company takes care of all the management of the money and the title. So the title goes from the seller to the end investor, and then you're going to get your commission of the difference between your two contracts. So you're going to take those two, you're going to give it to the escrow company. The escrow company is going to give the money to the seller, and then he's going to write you your check. That is exactly how it works. It's no harder than anything like that. You just have it and you collect your money. So that is the ninth thing. Close on the house. Make sure that this deal happens, right? You want to get the date set. You want to coordinate the time between the seller and the end buyer. Make sure it's happening. Make sure everything happens, and work with the people. It's very important. Everybody knows the times that you're going to close on this house. And then once you collect your money, you have it, put your money in the bank, and then a couple days later, always ask for a referral from the person that you wholesaled with. Always go to that person and ask if they know someone who wants to sell their house. Don't forget this. This can really grow your business, is engagement, especially if you treated this person very well. You were upfront, you were honest, you didn't lie to them in any way. They're going to respect you for that. They got their money. They're in a good spot. Ask for a referral. That is super important. That is how we've grown some of our business, is treating people fairly and asking for referrals. Put that money in the bank, set aside money for taxes. A lot of people forget to pay taxes, and then you have $10,000 more. So hopefully these 10 steps were really helpful. I'm just going to conclude by going through these 10 one more time very quickly. The first thing is have protection. You want to start an LLC so that way if somebody sues you, they can only come after your business, not you personally. The second thing is know your area well. Drive the area, walk around, notice if you feel safe in those areas. Why are things selling for the reasons they are? The next thing is find the off-market properties. Don't just use Zillow or Trulia. Do some of these strategies of building a website, setting up signs, mailing letters, handwriting letters. Find properties before anybody else. That's how you're going to make your money. Talking to the leads, right? You want to actually go and you want to talk to this person on the phone, get in contact after they've written you a letter back or they've called you, ask them why are they selling. That's a very important question, and build relationships with them. Run your numbers. Once you have the information, you want to find what the end price of the house is, and you want to find out how much the rehab is going to be, and then use all those numbers to calculate your offer. So run your numbers really, really well, even before you go and see the house. You want to run as educated as you can, so that way you can have a good conversation when you go. The next one is actually meet at the house. Go to the house, meet with the person selling, and do some math on some of the projects you think are going to have to be done, and take pictures of everything. So take pictures of the mechanicals, take pictures of the roof, take pictures of the windows. So that way an investor knows how much they're going to have to charge, how much they're going to have to put into the house to sell it later on. So make sure that you take pictures of everything. The next thing is sign the purchase sale agreement, right? Make sure that you sign that agreement with the seller at a set price, that you can assign that contract to somebody else. Make sure that happens. You will not be able to wholesale if you don't sign this contract. The next thing is send the information to your buyers list, to the investors, right? You want to build that MailChimp email with all of your pictures, your numbers, and then send it off to the investors. I'm going to be posting another video about how to build your buyers list. Collect offers, right? Have a showing time that multiple people can come to build up that competition and increase your asking price on the property. If you increase the asking price, you'll make more money. People will see that you're reputable, that other people are showing up at the house. It'll give a little bit of excitement that people are looking, and it could even give you more money. And then you're going to have those people sign the assigner contract, where you have the marked up price. Make sure you sign that and give that to the escrow, both of your contracts to escrow, so that way you are going to make your commission on the property. The last thing is close on the house. Make sure the closing happens, right? Schedule the date, get it all set, make sure people know what they have to do, and make sure that this happens. And then collect your money, put it in the bank, and set aside money for taxes. So those are the 10 steps to wholesaling houses. Hopefully this was helpful. This is what I do in my business right now. If you have questions about wholesaling, please let me know. I do build websites for people that follows up and gets motivated seller leads. Please reach out if you have any questions. I would love to help. Please comment, subscribe, and like this video. I would love to just be in touch. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking out Glanzair Studios. If you have any questions about real estate marketing or wholesaling, please let me know.